It's really difficult, because when we met here this time last year, the US administration had just, or was about to, had taken office, and we didn't really know. We had an idea from executive orders. 1 year on, we have to some extent been told that the world is flat, that all the things that people like yourself have believed in terms of trade policy and that foreign policy are different. Am I right, or am I overstating?
Richard, great to see you, and wonderful to be with this audience. What we see is a world that is more diverse, more multipolar, and more resilient as a result. In fact, we just published our projections for global growth for this and next year. We upgraded these projections, including for UAE, for the Gulf countries, because one, private sector everywhere, agile and adaptable. Two, the trade shocks that we thought may come is muted. Three, incredible enthusiasm about the potential of AI to lift productivity. So we are in a world that is, on one side, geopolitically much more complex, a world of transformation, technological, political, geopolitical transformation, demographic transformation. On the other side, quite resilient.
Why do you think we have not seen such a shock from the tariff chaos, my word, not yours, the tariff chaos chopping and changing, and also an inflationary response? People like myself, I mean, admittedly, the final tariff level was much lower than the initial tariff level, but it was still 2, 3, or 4 times what the previous level was.
Well, we need to remember that trade is like water. You put an obstacle, it goes around it. And this is what is happening. First, tariffs that were announced after negotiations and agreements went much lower, from 23% to, by our estimates, what is collected is more in the order of 9%. Two, the rest of the world continues to trade. And not only that, but we have seen an increase in bilateral and plurilateral trade agreements. Why is the world trading? Well, because majority of countries, small, medium-sized countries, they cannot produce everything at home. They need that integrated global economy.
The president of the ECB, Christine Lagarde, told me at Davos that what is happening at the moment is the biggest, whether it's Greenland or the trade or tariffs, whatever, it's the biggest wake-up call to Europe. Is Europe up to that wake-up call?
It better be. We see in Europe tremendous potential to lift up competitiveness, productivity, and growth. Why is it not happening? Well, 27 countries, it is hard for them to reach an agreement, and Europe really cherishes consensus building. But consensus building takes a long time. The world is moving so rapidly, Europe has to adapt. It is not going to be the other way around. At the fund, we see a potential for Europe to increase productivity and growth by 20%, provided they focus on completing the single market. And in completing the single market, there are really 4 things that matter, Richard. First, 28 regime for firms. When a company wants to invest in Europe, it should not be doing 27 different investments because of different regimes of registration. 2, it has to get Capital Market Union. Europe renamed it. It is now called Savings and Investment Union. Okay, fine. What matters is...
Different name, same problem.
Same problem, because a shallow capital market in Europe, what does it mean? It means that 300 billion euros of European savings are somewhere else, mostly in the United States. They have to bring energy union that is truly one, same pricing, same structures for all countries. 4, I'm sure you heard about free movement of people. Yeah, people move, but their qualifications cannot move. So
this is basic stuff.
Totally basic.
So why would Europe still fiddling around trying to solve it after all these years?
Well, very simple, because different countries have different stakes in these issues. Some are against the capital market union because they like banks doing business rather than the capital markets. Others feel that they need to protect their labor from the influence of countries with lesser qualifications. In other words, 27 countries, right, all of them producing red lines. So what Europe now needs to do is take the time, wipe out the red lines, and concentrate on its performance as one economic union. And that would be good for everybody. People want to do business in right, Europe, but it's too complicated. The Europeans can share a lot of their experience of what not to do. And I recommend to the Gulf, listen. In the Gulf, I am very enthusiastic about what I see. Much more interest in harmonization of regulations, more collective decision-making, more focus on interregional trade. Potential for that is huge. And the Gulf is now thinking about institutions, how to make the Gulf Cooperation Council a more impactful institution. I actually would say this: don't copy the European institutions, they're too complex, but copy one thing from Europe that I find incredibly impactful: Airbus. When Europe came up with Airbus, it did something fabulous. It created a very potent competitor to Boeing. Now, every second aircraft on this planet comes from Europe. So for the Gulf, get your Airbus.
How do we...
Can I say to the audience from the Gulf, I admire what you have done in 2 areas. The first one is investing in human capital. You have done it before AI was popular. But because you have done it, you have such a strong comparative advantage today when this new technology is coming to life. And secondly, and we feel it right here in UAE, you recognize the importance of dialogue and cooperation. And that, for you, for the Gulf, very important, but for the world we live in, is so important. So thank you, UAE. Thank you, Gulf.
How are we going to get through the next 12 months? I mean, if we look at the last 12 months, we're all exhausted. We don't know where we stand. Even my own company, I don't know who's going to own me this time next year. How are we going to get through?
I'll tell you how I get through all the tensions around. I hug my family. I enjoy my grandchildren. So find your anchor and then hold on it. But on a more serious note, I have been saying this now for more than 5 years. We live in a world of more frequent exogenous shocks. It is not going to change. We live in a world of uncertainty. This is not going to change. So what can a country or a business or a household do? Get your house in order. Get your economy in the best possible order. Have good policies, good institutions, make allocation of financial resources thoughtfully, and don't rely on the rest of the world to somehow come to your rescue. And of course, cooperate with your neighbors, build bridges, because that is how we can all as humanity do better. For us at the IMF, we recognize our responsibility, and it is to bring the best possible analysis we can offer on where the world economy is going, where regions are going. So in this fog of the year, we are holding a little torch.
Jelajahi cara baru mendapatkan informasi. Download MetroTV Extend sekarang.